So in my last video, I tried to give you guys 21 F1 2021 tips in 5 minutes, and hidden in the description, I asked you guys to get the video to 150 likes for a special setup tips version of that video. And at the time of recording this, you guys absolutely smashed it with 500 likes. So this time, let's get this video to 250 likes as we do 18 F1 2021 setup tips in 5 minutes. So quick shout outs to João Pedro, Ryan J and Showtime23 for recently subscribing to the channel. If you want a chance at appearing in one of my future videos, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. With the handling patch that came out a couple of months ago, the brake bias has pretty much gone back to what it was in F1 2020. You want to use 50% in any conditions. If you do find yourself locking the rear tires up under braking, simply add one extra click to 51% and you should be fine. This next tip is a very basic tip, and a lot of people have been asking about this question recently, so I'm assuming there are a lot of new players to the F1 game. But understeer is when the front of the car has less grip than the rear of the car, and oversteer is the exact opposite, where the rear of the car has less grip than the front of the car. I've seen some setups that's floating around on the internet, and for some of them I see that people are not using 100% on the braking force. There is literally no reason why you should use anything but 100% braking force. When it comes to gaining rotation in the car through the corners, there are 5 main settings that you need to change in order to do that. Those settings are your front wing, your off-throttle differential, the front toe, the suspension, and your anti-roll bar. If your car feels a little bit sluggish in slow speed corners, make sure to increase the rear suspension of the car. However, if your car isn't changing directions quick enough in high speed corners, then increase the rear anti-roll bar. Your tire pressures should always be as high as possible. There are only 3 real reasons why you want to decrease your tire pressures, and those reasons are overheating, lots of slower speed corners, and too much rotation in the car. If you find yourself lacking grip in the middle of the corner, even when you're on fresh tires, make sure to decrease the anti-roll bar by 1 click. You also have the option of decreasing your off-throttle differential just slightly, just to give the rotation of the car a little bit more stability. If you guys remember the clip of Fernando Alonso driving the Ferrari and how he was understeering into the corner and then suddenly oversteering, that can also happen in the game. And if you do find that happening with your current setup, there are 3 things that you can do about it. You can either decrease the rear anti-roll bar, increase the rear suspension, or change the balance of your tire pressures. If you find that the car is oversteering, on exit there are also 3 options that you can use. You can either increase the rear downforce if you're lacking grip entirely, decrease the rear suspension if it's aggressive on entry, or decrease the anti-roll bar. If you want to build a wet setup from a dry setup, here are some basic things you can do to the car to quickly change it. You should increase the front and rear wings, make the suspension and anti-roll bar softer, and you can also run slightly lower off-throttle differential. Okay, so these next tips were given to me by one of my mods named Grunt, so shout out to him. Always use 100% on the on-throttle differential as it's the best to use. There are some situations which I did mention previously on where you would want to decrease that. Always make sure that the tire pressures are the same in the front and the back. So what I mean by this is you want your front tire pressures to be the same and you want your rear tire pressures to be the same as each other. By having them different, it can offset the balance of the car. If you find that your car is spinning due to bottoming out, make sure to increase the rear ride height. This can especially happen a lot going through cops at Silverstone. This next tip is a very basic one, so most of you guys probably already know it, but there are a few of you guys who are new to the game and don't know this, and that is to simply use time trial to get a good baseline setup. Or you can actually go to the description down below or the pinned comment section down below and get my spreadsheet of baseline setups. This is a great way to find setups already with optimized wings, suspension settings, and other stuff like that. And to one-up time trial just a little bit further, my spreadsheets actually come with the optimum strategies that you want to use during a race as well. If you find that your tires are overheating, here's what you need to do. You can add some downforce to the car, lower the tire pressures, or change the balance of the car. What I mean by that is, for example, if only your front tires are overheating, make sure to go and change your suspension and anti-roll bar settings to make the car just a little bit more aggressive. And the last tip of this video is to simply use right, left, left, left for the suspension geometry. I'm sure you've heard it before. right meaning maximum to the right, and left meaning maximum to the left. This is a great starting point, and to be honest, most people don't even fiddle with it after that. You can do, obviously, but this is always the last thing that you want to change when setting up your car. Hopefully this time I managed to get all the tips to you guys within the time limit of 5 minutes. Make sure to go and watch the previous video I made on just general F1 2021 tips, and also don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and I'll see you guys soon.